All right, everyone. Welcome once again to the Faces of Business. I am your host, Damon Pistolka, and I am excited today for our guest because we have none other than Michelle Page with us today. And we're going to be talking about foundational business essentials for entrepreneurs,
Yes.
for every entrepreneur. Michelle, thank you for being here today.
I was so excited to get the opportunity to come back. Your first podcast we did together was so much fun. I was thrilled to come back.
Awesome. Awesome. I'm glad we could too, because it's really great when we can share experience like yours, and yours both from helping people grow businesses, putting the good fundamentals into these businesses and foundational work that you do with clients, and then seeing your journey and how you're transforming the way that you're building your own business. So it's awesome to have you back, Michelle.
Well, thank you so much.
Yes. So as we like to, Michelle, being a repeat offender, we like to talk about your background, to let people know a little bit more about you and how you got into helping people grow great businesses.
Absolutely. So I refer to myself as many people do, as a serial entrepreneur. And I have started, last count, I think it was 8 different businesses in 3 different states. And they have been sole proprietors, S Corps, C Corps, LLCs. And I've pretty much run the gamut of what do you do to have a little bit of success, or what do you do to learn a lot of valuable lessons? But Sales Chasers, and now the rebranded Revenue Chasers, I actually started in 2009. And when I started that business, the business growth, business coaching business, it was to help entrepreneurs grow their business. And whatever it was, a lot of them I started working with, and it was, oh, we need more sales, we need more leads, we need to close better. And fast forward 5 years, 10 years, COVID, it wasn't always that they needed more sales. They needed to go back to the foundational basics of being an entrepreneur. That's where it all starts.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. That is awesome. So starting 8 businesses, 3 states. Let's go back to some of those foundational things that you really think are important nowadays.
Well, I am ashamed to say the very first time I wrote a mission and vision statement was last December. Shame on me. I knew what my mission was. I knew what my vision was, but the clarity that you get when you actually commit it to paper, you look at it, you revisit it and say, is this really representing what I want? And then you kind of live with it for a while, you sleep on it, and that helps you clearly define what you want to do. And I look at all the coaching I've done over 16 years, and I'm like, why have I not followed my own advice?
Yes.
So in order to have a strategy, in order to know where you want to go, you need to know where you're starting from and what that destination looks like. Because if you don't know where you're going, no map in the world is going to get you there.
You just kind of go wherever.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So mission and vision, the starting point.
Right. A lot of entrepreneurs, the reason they start their business is because they're good at something. Whether it's a service, whether it's a product, whether it's a talent of some sort. And they start their business so that they can leverage that into a money-making opportunity, something scalable, something that they can build for a generational type of business. But they don't start developing software because they're a good accountant. or because they know human resources, or because they know sales and marketing and identifying who your market is. So one of the foundations that I work with clients on is when you start a business, it is not just doing what you started your business for.
Yeah.
So if you look around, you may be the only one in the room, the only chair at the table, but there is an invisible chair there for every functional area of the business.
Mm-hmm.
So pick your favorite company and think about all the different areas of their business. Someone in your company, probably you, needs to be doing that job. And if you're not doing it, which is probably the wise thing to do, you need to make sure it's covered.
Yeah. Yeah. It is really interesting how the transition from, you start up, you have a great idea, you can sell a little bit of it, and then pretty soon the business grows into, I'm either doing this, or this, like you said, the different chairs, and how the need for all those, because they're necessary,
right,
takes away from your ability to deliver the product that makes you the money. And so it really becomes a conundrum of where do you add resources, where do you add systems, where do you add in the next stage, because it's continually changing.
Absolutely. And so one of the clients I have, we've been working together about a year and a half or so. And the first part of our engagement was about getting more in his pipeline. And when we first started, he says, okay, I need to get more leads. I'm like, okay, let's put some numbers to it. What's your goal? He says, well, by the end of the year, I want to do X $100,000. Great. What's your average deal size? Well, it's this. So this is him talking. So I need to have X number of appointments so I can close X number of deals. I'm like, so why don't you change your deal size or change your closing rate so you can have, do more with less? Well, we realized when we kind of did our strategy session for this year, he wasn't closing his opportunities because he's a founder. He doesn't know how to sell. And that is not anything to be embarrassed about.
No, it's not. It's not.
So at this point, we're doing primarily sales coaching. So again, it's another fundamental, essential that you at least need to be educated and knowledgeable about, because if you're not doing it, you need to be able to have that conversation with someone else and understand what's going on, or you need to be able to bring on a team member intelligently with enough information.
Yeah. Because the great ideas can die a horrible death if nobody sells them.
You're right. But then again, if you don't have anybody in operations and say you put together a product and nobody's monitoring supply chain, nobody's monitoring quality control.
Oh, yeah.
So, the jobs have to be done. The functional areas have to be addressed. So the first foundational essential is recognizing, okay, stop looking at my business from the bottom up or just from the top down. Two sides of the same coin. You need to figure out in a holistic look, what does my business look like today? Is it scalable the way it is today? And what gaps do I need to fill?
So when we talk about these fundamental essentials for every entrepreneur, let's name them. Let's name them first of all, and then we'll start talking about. You mentioned sales, but let's go through them so we can kind of then go back in more detail.
Okay. Well, sales is more than just sales. It's a whole revenue ecosystem. So you have sales, marketing, and customer success. You have to all be on the same page in terms of messaging, brand, in terms of having access to the same data. And don't get me started on data. That's kind of my preaching spot. But you need to be consistent from the beginning to the end. And once you sell something, it's not over. You need to have that follow through, because if you're selling and then churning,
Yeah.
you're costing yourself money. So the whole revenue ecosystem is, again, it's not always so much about increasing revenue, but you may need to plug some revenue leaks as well. And I mentioned operations. So you have kind of all of the innards of the company there. So you have, of course, usually finance goes up under operations. So somebody's got to do the books. If it's not you, then who?
Yeah.
You got to figure that out. Technology often rolls up under operations. So what systems you're using? Are you using them the right way? And what systems aren't you using that you need to use?
That's a big one.
Yeah. Production, whether it's a product or service, how are you delivering it? Human resources. Even if you are a company of one, you have human resource concerns. I'm an S Corp. I pay myself a salary. I also pay unemployment. I also pay employer taxes. And I have the same reporting requirements as any other HR entity. And if you hire one person in addition to you in your company, your entire company's changed. You need to document everything. There's compliance issues. So if you're just thinking, okay, well, I'm going to get my best friend to come and join me, you got work to do.
Yeah, it adds a lot more layers.
Yeah, and of course, there's just so many other areas. You've got legal. You've got the whole concept of profit protection and making sure that you're not just taking all your profits and putting them in your pocket. You've got to make the profit productive.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, there's all these concepts that a lot of people say, well, I love baking pies. I'm going to bake pies.
Yeah. And it's like, that's the thing. It's a great example, right? I love baking pies. I'm really good at it. And then taking that to a commercial level and taking it to a scalable level, it's just like a constant set of changing challenges, like you said, in all these areas. It could be the revenue, it could be marketing, could be HR, operations, just production, but getting the things done, and then quality control. As you go faster, the quality can't go down. And you mentioned COVID, and there's a lot of things like supply chain that affect that. So
businesses live, they either live or die based on their supply chain. And when something like that hits, you need to be on the right side of that live or die.
That's for sure.
And the reason I mentioned pies, we are in. I recently joined a mastermind group, small business mastermind group, through Pinnacle Bank here in Jacksonville. It's one of their offerings for small business financial literacy. But I mentioned I'm kind of a serial startup, so I'm going back to the beginning. And for me to be a more effective coach, I need to put myself through that as well. Anyway, the foundation of this mastermind is we are reading, as a mastermind group, Michael Gerber's The E-Myth Revisited.
Oh yeah.
You're familiar?
Oh yeah, I've got it up on the shelf right here.
Okay. Well, the main character is Sarah, and she started all about pies.
Mm-hmm.
So, kind of going through her foibles. If anyone watching here wants a fabulous intro to entrepreneurship or why am I stuck? How do I get out of it?
Yeah.
Book, Michael Gerber. He's got a ton of books, but
Yeah.
the E-Myth Revisited, highly recommend.
Yeah, it is a good one. And it does really show I mean, it's a trap. I mean, it's a kind of a trap that you get into, right? As you start out, you go, okay, first of all, I'm good at something. I want more to make more money, or I want more freedom, or both usually. And now I go out, I find some people to start paying me for it. And the next thing you know is I have all these other things, like you said, at all the other areas that I could be a really good baker of pies in that example, but I've also got to take care of my accounting because I need to buy stuff for my supply chain. And I got employees, so I need to make sure that they got their payroll. I got all this other things that happen. And then I have to sell more pies to take care of all that stuff. And oh, by the way, I can't just sell to the people that I know. I have to market out to others that I don't know yet and make sure that I got more people coming to get to know me to buy those pies.
And then you're really tired.
And then you're really tired. Exactly. And it's interesting in that, and we get into that as entrepreneurs. We get to that point to where we just physically and mentally don't want to work anymore, can't really work anymore and be effective. And we may be sitting there going, oh, I'm making some money, but I'm not really, I don't have the freedom because I'm stuck here doing everything. And I'm making some money, but I don't make the money that I thought I would. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about that a little bit and how you're helping people get out of that situation.
Absolutely. But I want to go back to something you just said that kind of, perked up my ears. When we have to work, if you're an entrepreneur and you're looking at what you're doing as I have to work, that's your job. It's not your company, it's your job. So at that point, you need to reassess. Again, where am I today? Where do I want to go? And what's the path to get there? Go back to the basics.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Well, you're right, because there becomes a point in time where the work that got you where you are today will not take you any further, and you have to find people that can do that. And just like the other pieces of your business, you may be good at it, you may be not. You may have to find other people to help because you get beyond your capabilities, or your desire is a better way probably to say it in those areas.
Yeah. So do you mind if I share a cautionary tale about why I'm doing what I'm doing?
That would be awesome.
Okay. So I mentioned serial startup. Well, when I started my business, it's because I have multiple passions. If I'm going to do something, I'm going to have a passion about it. I'm also going to laugh during it, because if you're not laughing, you're not doing life right, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I love sales and marketing. To me, it's just fascinating to understand people's behaviors and if they have a need and you can meet that need, how can you help communicate that need? So when I started my business originally, it was based on sales and marketing. And when I found people needed more than that, and I started expanding what I could offer, I brought on additional team members as support. And what I found when you're a control freak, and
I wouldn't know anything about that.
Well, I hold myself to very, very high standards. And unfortunately, I tend to, at least I used to tend to hold people to similar standards. And I've learned over time that is not fair. It is not fair to them. It's not fair to me. But what I would find is when I would bring people on and I would try and have them provide the same service, my customers wanted me. and they paid for me. I want Michelle. Okay, but Susie is going to do a great job. She's going to handle it. And, I'll still join weekly calls, but I want Michelle. And it got to the point where I felt like I needed to be immersed and I could not extricate myself. So at the point when you feel like you are your business, when you feel like nobody else can do it as well as I do, that's your first speed bump. And that speed bump is Mount Everest.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of how I became a serial startup, because every time I would work with a client, it would be, we're in the trenches together.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a matter of, okay, well, you go work with, with Bob and with Amy and, get back with me. So what my realization was is, unless I want to work until I'm 115, which I don't, I'm not going to fulfill my mission, which is to reach as many entrepreneurs as possible and to support them.
Mm-hmm.
Because even though I started my business and I knew enough, I had a working understanding of most all of the functional areas, I wasn't doing them for myself. And I needed to share best practices of how to scale your business with more than just the handful of clients I had at any given time.
Yeah.
So I've pivoted from that one-to-one, or I should say one-on-one,
Mm-hmm.
to the one-to-many. And what Revenue Chasers is building now is, oh, I'm so excited. It is a comprehensive e-learning platform. It's a digital platform for the $0 to $5 million entrepreneurs, so they can access all of those resources,
Mm-hmm.
courses, tools, templates, coaching, interactive events, and most importantly, mastermind groups, community. It's possible to get where you want to go on your own. Oh, but it's so much better, so much faster if you go with your peers.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's one of the things that we get stuck in as entrepreneurs is there's a lot of things you do have to figure out on your own. Mm-hmm. You really do. You have to figure it out on your own. But there comes a point when you have that community around you that, Michelle may have solved this problem already.
Yeah.
Could have been multiple times. I'm looking at it from a first time problem owner. Right. And I'm like, now I've got to work through this problem. Well, if I have a community, I can ask somebody about it. If I don't, I have to go out and evaluate several different potential sources of help.
Yeah.
To see are they even the right fit for me? B, is it someone I really want to work with, or a company I really want to work with? And then C, I have to make that jump without ever experiencing what it was like. And when you're in a community, you can ask somebody, and if they raise their hand and say, yes, I've done this, and this is how it was, this is how it worked, this is how I got the help I needed, and you have that whole different level of advice
mm-hmm.
that you just wouldn't get on your own.
You can, to be blunt, you can learn your lessons through somebody else's pain.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But you can also, find the yellow brick road because somebody else has been there before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's for sure. Find the yellow brick road. I like that. So what are you most excited about? I mean, one-on-one coaching is, and I do a fair amount of that yet. One-on-one coaching is very, it's very rewarding because mm-hmm. you can see the growth right there in front of you happening over time. So what are some of the things that you're excited about as you bring this learning system out there, helping entrepreneurs, teach the fundamentals and going that way?
Well, I'll probably never leave one-to-one coaching because, like you said, it's so rewarding, and intrinsically, I love seeing an individual progress.
Mm-hmm.
And I love to be able to hear the success stories, the baby steps that result in, running that mile or that marathon. But trying to assimilate all those things that the clients I've had have needed and the things that I've known and haven't done,
Mm-hmm.
trying to put that all together. Part of this platform is definitely going to be that mastermind. And a lot of them are going to be facilitated by me so that I can help walk through some of those kind of guided discussions. So having a topic to say, okay, well, we have people here that are still at the idea stage. We have people here that have been in business 10 years and they're still at 250,000, but they have that desire of growing, and
Mm-hmm.
they're stymied. So having a bit of I don't want to call it a syllabus, but that facilitated, let's walk down the path together. That is what I'm so excited about.
Yeah. Yeah. Helping lots of people down that path will be rewarding as well. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So you talked about a few things you said I didn't do, like you wanted to, for your own businesses. What are some of the most common things that you see that people are not doing? One of these fundamentals that they really should be, or essentials, foundational essentials, they should be, paying more attention to, but don't.
I think the first thing is getting that wide angle lens and realizing that it's not just the product or service they're offering, but identifying where do they need to be, what do they need to be prepared for ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
So that will help them build that into their strategy. And when I mention, top down or bottom up, that's something that, that strategic plan is a living document. And it's not something that you draft, December 31st for the next year and say, okay, come hell or high water, this is where I'm going to go. It's something that you need to revisit constantly and make shifts and pivots. And it's not just something where you say, okay, well, I'm doing what I want to do. Now, if that's your hobby and if you're independently wealthy, more power to you. Give me a call.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to build something, then you need to constantly be assessing and identifying strengths and weaknesses, whether it's in your skill set, in your business's performance, in the market, your competitors, and the world is dynamic. The business world is dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the reasons I'm just so strongly a proponent of the mastermind group. And it could be you and 3 of your friends who are entrepreneurs. The 3 of you together means, you and 3 of your friends is 4. So, the 4 of you together make 5 brains.
Mm-hmm.
That's a mastermind.
Yeah. Different experiences, different challenges conquered, and sharing those together, everyone gets to move forward faster.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. What was the toughest thing so far about getting ready, leading up to this?
Realizing that what I was doing was not sustainable for my goals.
Mm-hmm.
I always have big goals.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my goals was moving to Florida. Fantastic. Now I want to be at the beach every day.
Yeah.
So the way I was conducting my business, that wasn't a possibility. And of course, I'm, simplifying this all the way down.
Yes.
But, I used to be able to travel 3, 4, 5 times a year, and it's not sustainable to do that now. I need something that's going to not only serve my mission, because that's very important to me, but also serve my goals. And a lifestyle business, which is exactly what I had, is not going to help me achieve my goals.
Yeah. And I forget what I was reading in the last week. I was in another mastermind. We're talking about mission and goals, and really understanding that it's not quite as much an either or with your life or your professional endeavors, and how that, your mission will align you both in personal and professional, and you can build a business like you want. It takes a lot of intentional steps though to do that. I mean, because if you're someone that wants a more lifestyle-ish business, you can still build a multi-million-dollar, very profitable business, but it's going to take different habits, different disciplines to get you there. And like you're saying, if your goals are to go here, and there's certain types of lifestyle businesses that just won't get you there without that kind of discipline.
Right. And it could be as simple as your delivery method. So, Henry Ford discovered the assembly line, which was a different delivery method.
Yes.
And me moving, my knowledge and skills and resources and the content I have, such as your appearance on my podcast, Go, Go, Grow Business Coaching Podcast.
Nice.
All of that, if I move that from Michelle's brain into a accessible, scalable digital learning platform, it will have a life of its own.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to have to be constantly feeding 40, 60, 80 hours of effort every week. I'm going to actually be able to work with those entrepreneurs that are going through that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. So as you're moving forward, what are you hoping to see? What results are you hoping to see? Say someone goes into your one-to-many system, they start doing the courses. What should they be expecting as they're going through this?
Education and inspiration.
All right.
Those are the two. Everybody has different learning styles. The way they absorb information better. They have different schedules. There's so many entrepreneurs that, they're doing side gigs until they can, go full force. So many people don't have access to go take college courses. They don't have access to go to an SBA center or an SBDC center. And they're great, fantastic resources, but you have to go to them and match their availability. So what someone can expect with this platform is accessing the knowledge, resources, tools, coaching, training, community that they need on their schedule at their own pace and at their own membership tier level. So if they're still at the idea stage, they don't need the same level of access and support and content as someone who, maybe they're at that $4 million range and they really want to push past the 5 million. So they can kind of figure out where they fit, and as their time and budget and goals allow, they can get from it what they need.
Yeah. Yeah, I really think one of the things about the one to many, like you're saying, is a couple key points is if you're doing one-on-one, I mean, I there's one-on-one benefits to one-on-one, like you said, when you're at the right point. In the beginning, though, I believe that the one to many and through those first phases in your business are really important because, like you said, it could be a side hustle. I'm working now, and I'm in the learning phase. I haven't even started my business. I'm learning about business to get ready to start my business. Then I'm starting and testing. I'm making an offer, my first product or service. I want to really figure that out and get it out to the market and give it a good test and see if it's people want to actually, it provides value and people want it. And then as you work through that, all the other challenges, and with a one-to-many system like that, I can hit what I need to today rather than in a one-to-one where, we may have some things that we're going through, or we may be on a set schedule of the things that we're going to be teaching or talking about, and it may not match where I'm at with my business at this time.
Exactly. And even though there will be a recommended flow of coursework, you can pick and choose what you want when you want it. Yes. So if anyone's used TurboTax before, which I used for many, many years, thankfully hopefully I'm not going back to that. I have a wonderful CPA.
Yes.
But with TurboTax, when you start it up, it says, great. Do you want us to walk you through each and every section and ask you questions that have nothing whatsoever to do with you? Or do you want to pick and choose what you work on? Mm-hmm. So that's the philosophy that the content will have.
Yeah. Yep. And that is so great because if you say you're working out, you're doing something else, you're listening to it, and you go, okay, now I got my overview. I want to go back and deep dive. I go back again, the difference between a one-to-many like learning management system where you can go back and review the content again to make sure you fully understand or answer any lingering questions. It's really a great way to be able to get the support you need with the group. So with the content. So the groups that you're going to have, the mastermind groups, let's talk about those a little bit.
Well, I'm going to give you a little bit of insider information now with some breaking news.
All right.
Are you ready for that?
Ready for it.
Okay. So I actually posted a few hours ago on LinkedIn and also on Facebook. Tomorrow, I'm going to have a big announcement there, but you're getting it here today.
Okay.
So as the development continues on the platform, I don't want to postpone having support available. So tomorrow I will announce the first of 4 series right now of mastermind cohort groups that will small group coaching facilitated mastermind. It'll be 6-week series, 1 hour per week. Mm-hmm. At the end of the 6 weeks, every mastermind member will be invited to be a guest on my podcast, Go, Go, Grow, Business Coaching Podcast, for the investment of $147.
Whoa.
6 weeks of a mastermind, 1 hour a week, plus a guest on the podcast. So this is to kick off the excitement, the conversation, everyone sharing the word.
Yes.
And the first one is going to be scheduled for early June. I don't have the date in front of me right now.
All right. No worries.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask if you're interested. Let's have a conversation. Make sure this is something that is going to align with what your goals, because I want to make sure you get every single value that you're looking for. But email me at Michelle, 2 L's, at RevenueChasers.com. And I would love to share with you the details. And of course, I'll post more details on LinkedIn and Facebook tomorrow as well.
At 9 a.m. tomorrow.
9 a.m. Pacific.
Yes. That's right.
12 noon Eastern.
12 noon Eastern. Yep.
Yes. So your eyes are going to be peeled, Damon.
Yes. Yes. We're ready to go.
I'll
No,
tag
this
you
is
in
great
it.
because I tell you the one thing that's really sad to see is when you see somebody that's very talented that could have a successful business, goes into it for 2 or 3 years, and you see the things they struggle in sales, they struggle in marketing, they may not have handled their finances like they really needed to, or just it's a myriad of things that can happen, but they're talented, they deliver a good product or service, and they don't make it for other reasons. And that's why I think that your solution and allows them to continue honing their skills in those other areas, the areas they need, and really increase that chance of success.
Yeah, thank you. I did some extensive research on, okay, what other sources are out there that are similar. Ones that are an e-learning platform that is comprehensive. It's not just, learn this skill or learn that subject, and ones that were specifically for entrepreneurs. And there's a lot of them out there, and I'm sure they're great courses, quality, they have fantastic ratings, but it's so that you can learn, for example, how to use AI, or you can learn how to build a business plan, or anything like that. You're getting bits and pieces of a topic or a skill or a talent, but you're not actually utilizing it. It's the practical application of the information. Again, the whole community mastermind where you can talk through things and get people's feedback and see their stories. But comprehensive, accessible, and flexible. Those are the 3 words that are just pounding through my head. This is what those entrepreneurs need. They're unique. Every single one of them is unique, but the one thing in common they have is this is what they need. And it's very hard to find.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Michelle, it has been incredible having you here today, and love talking to you about the foundational, I can't get the words right today, foundational business essentials for every entrepreneur, and your switch from doing primarily one-on-one business growth and business founder coaching to the one-to-many solution with your learning management system and the coursework and the masterminds that's going to be part of that. So excited to see how this turns out.
And I am so excited anytime I have a chance to talk to you, Damon, but I appreciate you letting me come on and just share this exciting achievement with everyone. And I think this is probably the most monumental thing I've done in my career, because it is going to impact not only so many entrepreneurs, but their lives, their families, their communities, the economies.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
so
I'm bursting.
That's awesome, Michelle. Well, I just want to say, if you got in this late, you want to go back to the beginning and listen to Michelle about those foundational essentials for every entrepreneur and learn more about the one-to-many coaching solutions and what she's going to be launching. Again, you want to get onto her LinkedIn, Michelle Page, 2 L's in Michelle, and Revenue Chasers is her company. Thank you for being here today, Michelle.
Thank you so much, Damon. We'll talk soon.
You bet. Well, I want to thank everyone that was listening out there. I can see we had people online listening. Thank you so much for being here today. We appreciate you. Michelle, we're going to finish up offline. We are done for now, folks. Have a great rest of your week.